Okay, what's up, world? This is We Need a Fifth back in the building. Um, got Kyle in the building today, holding down the Mets out. We'll be there. Oh, what is the opening day, right? Thursday.
Coming up Thursday. Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Shout out to my brothers, Hill, Mo. You know what I mean? They're sitting this one out.
Absolutely.
They'll be back. You know what I'm saying? Let's get straight to it, man. You see my moderation skills. Mo, you need to come back quick. NCAA, man, the tournament. Now, I'm gonna test you, get to your other team in that field. UNC, man, what's going on, man?
I think it was a down. I mean, it was obviously a down year. I think they were lucky to get in. I think, you know, I honestly think for a team that was lucky to get in, they put forth a decent showing.
Mhm.
Um, Almost got ran out the building in that first half, and they came back and made it a game, quite honestly. But I think they're one of the programs that have to kind of get caught up to what is going on in college basketball as far as nil goes. I mean, the ACC clearly isn't on par with what's going on in the Southeastern Conference.
Right.
I mean, I think that's really the only discussion that really needs to be had as far as college basketball goes right now. Can you hang with the SEC? And we've seen through this first weekend, not many teams can. I mean, we saw the ACC, except for Duke. I mean, I think everybody else struggled. I mean, look at the Big East. St. John's went down to an SEC team. UConn went down to an SEC team. That's the talk of college basketball right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Our generation, our age group, or whatever. That's a football conference. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, Auburn, Alabama, Florida. Who am I missing? Tennessee. What?
Yeah.
That's
All of them.
in the ACC. This is like a really down year. Speaking of ACC, your arch rivals. What you think of the Blue Devils? Those dudes in Durham.
Um, I think they are a really good team. And I think Cooper Flagg is the real deal. I think they and I think they have a good enough support and cast. I think they have gamers. That's what I think they have. I think they have attitude. I don't know if they necessarily have the athleticism to compete with a Florida or a Auburn, but I think they have attitude enough, and mainly because of the leader on the floor, Cooper Flag. I think they have a really strong shot to win a national championship this year.
Agreed. As a running rebel, a Fab Five fan, I hate to say it, but they look pretty good. You know what I mean? Like you say, you got
They
Cooper
do.
Flagg, you got I forgot the 7-2 kid at center.
Right.
I mean, he's not going to, wow you offensively, but he's good enough offensively and defensively. He can erase a lot of your mistakes. Knoepel, I think, is a good
Right.
shooter. Proctor has played lights out last game. They got some
I
talent.
mean, well, how many teams? I mean, obviously, no other team is going to have the number one overall pick in the draft, but Knoepel is another projected top 10 pick in the draft. I mean, I don't know how many other teams outside of Rutgers that might have
Not that
that claim right now.
and we can't let them off the well, I can't let them off the hook. That was one of the reasons I was so excited about college basketball this year. I was like, Duke and Rutgers, nowhere to be found. Who do you blame? Like, is it like maybe the players were rated too high? Is it coaching? And
I think I
Dylan Harper, who I still think is probably, in my mind, the second best prospect in this year's draft, he had injuries. So I don't know who or what to blame for their lack of success.
Well, as we were talking about Duke, and I think probably one of the components of that program that maybe doesn't get talked about enough is John Shire. I mean, to come in and do the job that he's done, I mean, it's a really tough job to come in after Mike Krzyzewski. I
That's
mean, people always say you never want to be the man after the man. I mean, he's handled that seat, I mean, almost perfectly. I mean, look, you don't have to look far down the road. And he's not even I mean, he is the man after the man in the sense that, Roy was the man. I mean, Roy isn't Dean Smith,
right.
but Roy is still Roy. For Hubert Davis to have to come in and run that program after Roy, and granted, Hubert got to a national championship.
Right. Right.
He's had a tough time. John Shire, I mean, if you had to pick which program is headed in the right direction, I don't think I don't even think that's a discussion. John, and in the game where we've seen a lot of the old coaches go by the wayside, obviously Patino Calipari is still there. I think John Shire is one of the good young coaches in the game, and I think that's made a difference to have that type of talent on your team and to be able to get them to play together and cohesively. That's the coach. That's a big part of it is the coach. A big part of it is the players, but I think a huge part of it is the coach getting people to buy into the system.
So the Rutgers coach is not
Look, but I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do. I'm not saying, and it's a very, and you only, and in college it's difficult because with the one and dones you only have a period of time to try to get through to these kids, and with all of the money that they're making, it's extremely difficult, especially when they know in a year I'm going to be playing someplace else anyway. So it's an extremely difficult job to do. It's no criticism on the Rutgers coach. It's just more or less an acknowledgement of the job that John Shire and his staff have been able to do with the kids that they have at Duke. And, and we'll see how far it takes them. I mean, look, this thing could be over, you know, uh, next week, next weekend.
yeah, but I think that Duke is in good hands. Even regardless of the outcome, of course, your expectation
Right.
expectations, but I think Carlos Boozer kid is one of the top recruits. He's headed there next year, so it's kind of like Coach K is gone. He's one of the greatest to ever do it, but
Right.
it seems like they're not really missing a beat, to be honest. Which is crazy.
They're not.
Which is crazy to say. Coach K, his resume speaks for itself, but yeah, you spoke about it earlier. So this is like it's not even close now. Because I was like, I don't know. I really like Dylan Harper. It's not. It's his undisputed, right? He's the number one pick this year. Cooper Flagg.
Oh, well, yeah,
I
I
don't think you have
mean,
a choice if you get it at this point because of the financial part of it and everything.
is there any part of his game that you've seen this year that surprised you?
He's a better ball handler and playmaker than I thought. He's not great
Yeah,
at it. He's just better than I thought. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
But
And willing to do it.
yeah, willing passer and willing defender. I think that's going to that'll make me sleep safe. That'll make me sleep easy picking him number one. Like even if his offense isn't, if he's not a 25 point a game scorer, I'm still okay because I know he's going to give me something on the defensive end. He looks like he's going to be a complete
Yeah,
play that can help your team. You know what I mean?
yeah. And I think that's the one thing. The one thing that surprised me, and I don't know, I probably should have known it just from what I'd heard about him prior to him coming to Duke, but you can see his desire to be really good when he plays on the court. You know what I mean? Like, some guys have, and granted, he's talented. I don't think he's the most talented player in college basketball, but I think he wants it a lot more than some guys that I think are more talented than him right now. That could change, obviously. But those habits are hard to develop. And he just clearly wants it to me in every aspect of it. I mean, this kid is out there doing everything on the court. I don't know what aspect of his game you would say he needs to really improve. I mean, obviously you want to get better at everything, but
There's no glaring weakness in his game. You know what I mean? Like, and
with
then
develop,
go ahead.
with development, yeah. I mean, I don't know what he projects as an NBA. I don't know if he's a one on the next level. If he's,
Like we're talking in today's NBA, probably a four, even like a three or a four.
no. I meant like a first option. I'm
Oh,
sorry, a first option.
yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure either. But I'm okay if he's a number two or three because of his defense. You know what I mean? Of course, you want if you got the
Okay,
pick, you want him to be a one. But I think even if he's a two or three, he still could help your team, be a
yeah,
championship contender. So I think he's a safe pick, actually. You know what I mean? I think he's a safe pick.
right.
Um,
As far as the tournament goes, is there any one other player you would trust more in a big spot than, or is there any one other player you would rather go into a game with than Cooper Flagg right now?
no, no.
No,
And I like that kid from Maryland too, Derek Queen.
Derek Queen.
I, I,
Yeah,
like, I like his game a lot. But yeah,
high school teammates.
crazy. And the kid from Connecticut, crazy.
Yeah,
That was a cheese. That was a cheese. I mean, sometimes you get this hype, like like Monteverde's usually as it is what it is, whatever. What was it?
right,
Back in the day. But
right.
nah, these guys are really that good. Like the kid from Connecticut, he's probably like a top 10 pick. Yeah, yeah, that's that. Yeah, tough to lose on.
But that was some shot by Derek Queen, and that's another kid that you know he he leaves it out on the court. You clearly see that he wants it, you know. And it's fun to see this time of year with the. I didn't think this first weekend was the best opening weekend of NC College. The NCAA tournament that we've seen. I don't. I think there was only maybe one buzzer beater this weekend. It wasn't that exciting,
Would you say
but
because of there really weren't any major upsets? Like I feel like there is no Cinderella this year.
yeah, there. I mean, you know, you could maybe argue Arkansas that was a 10-over-2,
Okay.
but I honestly think Arkansas was just as good, maybe if not even better of a team than St. John's when you look at the actual talent. Um,
Yeah.
which is a whole other indictment on the ranking system and the seeding system, but
Their
we'll leave that for another day.
their offense is just not good. You know what I mean? Like,
No, no, it's not. They were very athletic, I thought, but they were small. And when ended up facing a team that was just athletic and a little bit bigger, you know,
absolutely
you,
unbelievable.
you face
The
a little
SEC,
bit of problems.
the SEC over the Big East is still crazy to me. Oh my goodness. Who else is out there? You got yeah. So Arkansas. That was Coach Cal, Sweet 16.
What are you gonna say? Like some guys just know, like some guys are just good at what they do.
Hmm. No,
Like
I'm sure
some
they
guys.
could have made it. So I have to eat crow in as well. Like I'm like Arkansas. I mean, because their record in their wins, but I guess they took into account their injuries and stuff. But
What did Hov say? Put me anywhere on God's green earth. I triple my word.
yeah, yeah.
Your man Calipari said.
And just get me in. Fifth seed, I'm cool. I'm cool. Just get me in. I'll find someone to get me in the dance. I'll find a trick to dance. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Speaking, going back to the SEC, so the power teams. I actually forgot Arkansas. So it's Arkansas,
Right.
Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama, Florida. Jeez.
It, yeah.
Jeez.
I,
What's
but
it like?
what
Oh,
what I really what I really think, and when I watched a lot of these teams, and it's probably not even a fair comparison, but when I watch a lot of these teams, just from um an athletic standpoint and a team construction standpoint, a lot of them remind me of Oklahoma City, the Thunder. And I say that because a lot of these teams are able to switch and guard 1 through 5. It makes it almost impossible to get a clean look. St. John's couldn't get a clean look yesterday at all. I mean, the other day, Saturday at all. RJ Lewis could not get a clean look at all. And that's because whenever they were running action for him, he would come off a screen, or even if he was going on one on one, he was going up against a guy that was as big as him, or maybe even bigger, and just as athletic. And whenever he went to the hoop, there were there was size there to meet him. And pretty much every SEC team is built like that. And I think the one difference is Florida can play offense. Florida can score the ball. Florida can score the ball, and I forget the kid's name that transferred from Iona.
Clayton.
That play. I mean,
I like
the
that backcourt.
shots that he
Backcourt made too. I like that backcourt. Like I think he's like the other dude's like a baby Bradley Bill. Like I like that backcourt. Yeah.
I I think they have a complete team, and I would love to see them, and I don't know what that lines up as, if that would be a Final Four or a national championship matchup, but I would love to see them and Duke play one another.
Yeah. That'll be an excellent way to end the season. Yeah. Yeah. As far as like I was thinking, like the non-Cinderellas, except Arkansas, if you consider them a Cinderella, do you think any of that has to do with the now defunct G League Ignite, where Cooper Flagg, Derek Queen, they're probably in the G League right now. So
Right,
you might get upset Duke without Cooper Flagg. You might get past Maryland without Derek Queen. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think?
right,
I think the the top talent being in college basketball this year kind of, not I won't say eliminated, but limited the Cinderella chances for Cinderellas now this year.
right. I think, I was listening to the show earlier today, and somebody had made a good point about how, you look at all of the top players from some of these teams now, and they are kids that came from mid majors.
Mhm.
And what's happened to mid majors is that NIL has kind of, or NIL has kind of corrupted their programs. These teams, they develop these guys for 1, 2 years, and then when they're mature enough and ready to actually be good, they transfer out of those programs.
Yeah, I think the
You
point
know,
guard, a shooting guard for Arkansas, I think went to the Final Four of Florida International, I believe. Like, yeah,
right. You know what I mean? So it's like, these programs, in order for those Cinderellas to really happen, they need to have 3, 4 guys that are that developed on the team at the same time. And usually that's when they're juniors or seniors in that program. But those kids, they're circulating them in and out so fast. It's hard for those programs. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for the mid majors.
yeah, because
It's going to be hard for the mid majors.
basically the farm system. for the blue
It's the
blood,
farm system now. Yeah, it's the farm system now.
right?
It
Like
is.
if I have a good season in a mid-major,
I'm out.
Kentucky, here I come, right? Yeah, yeah. Mark Pope's doing a good job in Kentucky, by the way. SEC, SEC is crazy, but yeah, Mark Pope.
Unbelievable job. Yeah, 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 definitely.
He's
All of those coaches, Bruce Pearl, Rick Barnes,
Ricky Vaughn, Slick Rick.
you know,
Yeah.
and I think I was thinking about that recently. I think the SEC pound for pound actually might have the best coaches in in college basketball. And so that might be another reason for them having the success that they do have. When you think about the top coaches in the game, I mean, obviously you got Izzo. I mean, when you think about the Big Ten, you got Izzo. Uh, who else in the Big Ten might you have? You know,
uh,
that's obviously the Big East. You have Hurley. You got Patino.
and a coach for
You
Curry,
know,
solid.
yeah, you know. So
Um, yeah, I feel like the Big Ten, which is really like what the Big 18 or the Big 20 by now, might might be like the second best conference, right? With Maryland, Michigan State. I don't know. It's a distant second. SEC is clearly the best conference. Like it's not
it
close.
is. It is, and it happened overnight. To me, it seemed like it happened overnight. I don't know if this has been building.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's been built. I just haven't paid attention because to me, it's that stigma. It's the SEC. So how good can it really?
Right.
But after Alabama's Final Four run, Bruce Pearl's been doing a good job down there at Auburn. Uh, Rick Barnes, like you said, Rick Barnes at Tennessee. Yeah, it's probably it's coaching. It's these
It
guys,
is.
private coaches, like they're program builders. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
a little bit more than X and O's. Like and even like the transfer portal, I think Auburn and Tennessee's taking like a full advantage of that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Even last year, like I saw
I'm,
that they got,
I mean, coaches that understand the system and understand maybe the kids
yeah.
a
Oh,
little bit,
Matt Painter.
a little bit better.
Matt Painter for Dewey. So
Yeah.
he's doing
Yeah. Yeah.
he's been steady.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. Now Florida and Duke, that would be crazy. I feel like that would be, yeah. If it lines up, I have to look at the brackets, but that lined up, that would be great.
Who did I can't even remember off the top of my head now. Do you remember who Florida beat for the national championship when they won
Oh,
their
oh,
two?
what's
They
that?
beat Michigan State. Did they beat Michigan State one year?
That's a good question. So honestly, I know they beat Ohio State. That's the only one I remember.
Or they beat Ohio State? Okay.
That was Greg Oden and Conley. I remember that was
Yeah.
I believe that yeah, that's crazy. I can't remember who they beat first. I just I don't know.
I you know and as much as I think Duke could win the national championship, I'm honestly, hoping they don't. I would very much not like to see Duke win the national championship because things in Chapel Hill, just wouldn't be great. So
Yeah, the seat will be a little bit harder for my guy Hubert, man. Yeah. But like you said though, he made it to the final game, so he should have some leeway, like But yeah,
not his kids.
next year is going to be important.
Oh, big yeah, big yeah. I
Um,
mean, but especially when you're in the shadow of the football coach too.
yeah, yeah. Well, for now, I don't. We'll see how that works. We'll see how that works out. But now, yeah, Bill's been in the news for other things. Can't knock him. Can't knock him, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, if UNC becomes a football school, then it's really we live in a bizarro world.
we're almost there. Well, look, uh, I mean, you look at the college football playoff this year. I mean, we are pretty much almost in a bizarre world now and whatnot. I mean, it's the SEC was still relevant, but obviously not as dominant as they have been in the past in football. And we've never seen the SEC this dominant in basketball.
You would
You
have
know,
either Arkansas or Kentucky, pretty much.
yeah,
Either or.
yeah.
You're pushing that at the same time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
I think there were four ACC teams that made the tournament this year, and probably only three that were deserving. Uh, what there were four Big East teams:
uh,
St. John's, UConn, Marquette, Creighton.
yeah.
I mean, there were 14 out of 16 SEC teams made the tournament. That's unheard of.
Deserved it too. That's what's crazy. Deserved it. If nothing else, Arkansas said, "Oh yeah, wow, wow."
But they needed this showing in the tournament, even though some of the teams got picked off. They needed this showing in the tournament. I think they still have seven of the final 16 teams remaining. They needed this showing in the tournament to validate it. They needed Florida to win.
Yeah,
And that was a tough game. UConn gave them a really tough game.
UConn. I feel St. John's with a better shooting, right? Like it's just like
Oh yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah,
always going
yeah,
to be
yeah.
in it because they play smart. They play defense, and that keeps them in the game. But yeah, Connecticut, that was impressive. I gave up to Danny Hurley.
He's the best coach in college basketball.
I
He's the
think
best coach in college basketball.
I would say so because I think it was a couple. Whoa, had to be like last year this time. I was never impressed with the talent on any of those teams. They had good players. I thought they had good players, but to say he went back to back,
Yeah.
pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. Like,
Well, and for them to look, if you watch that Florida UConn game and you watch that St. John's Arkansas game, and you looked at UConn and you looked at St. John's, you would say there's no way St. John's beat UConn this year.
or, to Patino's credit, yeah. Um,
To Patino's credit, yeah. To Patino, to Patino, but UConn, I don't know if UConn was maybe bored during the regular season. I mean, they're too young of a team. I mean, it wasn't like those guys really lived the back to backs.
yeah, like everyone
You
left.
know what I mean? You could maybe make that excuse for a professional team where we won back to. You look at the Kansas City Chiefs this year
Right.
going through the regular season. They just wanted to get to the playoffs.
I just want to get hurt. Just get to
You
we're good.
just get to the playoffs. I mean, maybe you could maybe I don't know if you could argue that with UConn, but they looked all a part of a national championship in that loss, a national champion in that loss to Florida. I would not have been surprised if they won that game.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I was if you asked me who I got before the game, I'm definitely would have picked Florida easily.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
again, Danny Hurley, he had another play because when they started like 0-3, like I think they lost like they went to like one of those Malibu or Hawaii tournaments and
yeah.
like it was like all right, it's over. It was kind of like okay, this isn't their year. This is a rebuild year. So they had a good showing at the end of the day. They made it to the round of what 32. You know,
Yeah.
went back to back.
Look, you're not gonna win every year.
Right, right. So
You're not. I mean, but I think they won. What did they say? 15, 14, 13 consecutive NCAA tournament games. I mean, that's. I
well,
mean,
yeah,
to win back-to-back championships is crazy.
yeah. I mean, yeah, especially in this day and age, like the way people transfer the one and dones, and you know what I mean. So, because he did it with almost like two different teams.
Yeah, and I think that's the point. He did it with two different teams.
Yeah, so
You know,
that was
but I think to Florida's credit, like they say, you gotta, in order to be the champ, you gotta beat the champ, and the champ put up a really tough fight, and they overcame that. And I think, in order to get through this gauntlet of a NCAA tournament, you have to show yourself sometimes that you can overcome those obstacles. I don't know if there's another obstacle that Florida will face that's tougher than what they faced against UConn.
yeah, or what they faced in the SEC already. You know what I mean?
Or what they faced in the SEC already. I mean, even if they go up against Cooper Flagg, they know they face teams that are as good or as tough as this. That Duke team hasn't been anywhere. They've not achieved anything and whatnot. John Shire is still a young coach. This Florida team knows that they've overcome bigger monsters than that Duke team. I don't know if there's the only obstacle Florida might have in its way now forward is itself.
So what do you think of Auburn, the number one overall seed? You
Yeah.
like Florida if they have to match up or
Yeah. I mean, I think, look, I love Bruce Pearl. I
Mhm.
think he's another guy, put him anywhere on God's green earth. I he has a little bit of trouble in the tournament. Look, you know,
you really
I just
you like Bruce Pearl because you don't want to say it.
I think Florida's playing a little bit better. I like their size a little bit more, and I like their ability to score the basket a little bit more than Auburn. And I think Florida is peaking at the right time, which is what you kind of want right now. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
weird. I think I started off when I was watching the ACC. I was all in on Auburn. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I boom, like all right, they got good guard play. I was like, yeah. Did Alabama reminded me? I'm like, I don't know. I like Baby Brunson. Alabama.
right.
I'm like,
What's
so
my man? Fears? No, what? Sears?
yeah, serious.
Fears or Sears? Sears? Yeah,
So they're really like you said, like long, athletic, like that OKC, they could switch everything. Besides Sears, they could switch everything.
right,
Then Tennessee's good, but out of those, like that four, Tennessee would probably be four for me.
right.
I like Rick Barnes and everything. I'm just to me, it's almost like talent. The coaching is pretty much a push. The
Push.
Florida is a young coach too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he is.
Kind of
He
making it.
is.
Oh, I think he's already made a name for himself, but he's still in the process. But I believe he was on Bruce Pearl's staff at one point and stuff like that. So it's kind of like,
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, I can't get over the SEC. I gotta get with it. It's 2025. The SEC is good in basketball. I mean, the best in it.
No, look, I think they had that late season Alabama Auburn game. I think ESPN had the rivalry week, and the same day Alabama Auburn played was the Duke UNC game. And it was the first time I could remember being more interested in Alabama Auburn in basketball than Duke UNC. It's.
That is nuts. Because like Duke, I mean, maybe because we're like a little East Coast bias. We went to school in Carolina, but like that's it. As far as
That's
college,
it.
well, Duke and UNC, that's it. You know what I mean?
That's it.
So for the
That's that's the game.
Iron Bowl to take precedent in basketball is crazy to me. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so, yeah, yeah. So there hasn't been any like I feel like it just haven't been any surprises. Um, well again,
No,
I just feel, you know,
it's been very chalky. But I think I don't think this was again. I don't think we had I mean, I think we had so much parity. I think the only surprise might be is if there's no SEC team at the end of it.
right.
But I think, we've had so much parity in college basketball. I think the only separation in college basketball right now is amongst the conferences, SEC, ACC, Big East, Big Ten, what have you. But as far as the teams go, they've all been relatively on equal level all season long. I don't think you would be surprised if any team lost, especially from this point forth. I mean, would you be surprised if, you know, uh Auburn lost, next weekend? I don't know. Look, I look at a team like Maryland. If Maryland could get to a Final Four, and I'm not, who does Maryland have this week? If Maryland could get to a Final Four, I would be surprised simply because they play Florida. Okay, so
Ooh.
that would I think okay. So then I think that's good, right? I think that's it right there. I think you'll get your upsets this week, possibly. BYU, Alabama.
Yeah, I would be
I'd
up.
be surprised if a BYU beat Alabama. I would be surprised if a Maryland beat a Florida. Would I be surprised if Arizona beat Duke?
Yeah, I would be
You
surprised.
be surprised?
I know people really like the Caleb. Was it Caleb Love?
The Caleb Love, yeah, 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 yeah.
I'll be watching the game. I
It's
just
history. It's history there. It's history there.
yeah, yeah. So let's see. Oh, there was history.
You know.
Hold it. What's the guy? Roach and Duke.
Yeah.
He had a rough outing. He had a rough outing.
Oh, right. Right, 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 right. Yeah, but so I don't think the first weekend there was really that many opportunities for upsets, but I think you'll see some upsets, I guess if you want to call it that, this weekend, possibly. I think you can potentially see some upsets. I I wouldn't be surprised to see Alabama lose. I wouldn't be surprised to see Auburn lose this weekend. I mean, Michigan is playing good basketball.
Yo, I like that. Yo, those twin tower Wolf and I forgot the other dude's name. They got like those 2 7-footers. It's a
They
tough
got
matchup.
size. It's a tough matchup.
That's a tough
It,
matchup.
you know, it's a tough matchup. We're going to see. I guess if you want to call them upsets, I don't know if even know if you because at this point, everybody is the cream of the crop.
Right.
So I don't even know if you want to call them upsets at this point in the season and whatnot. But I definitely think well, what's the lowest seed? I think Arkansas is the lowest seed left as the 10 seed. Outside of that, I think the lowest seed is a 6 seed. So
Right.
everything is pretty much chalk, has been pretty much chalk to this point. I think you'll start seeing some of those 1 and 2 seeds, go down at this point. And yeah.
Oh, a lot going on because
Who do you have? Who do you have? Who do you have winning again?
I think I had Duke cutting down the nets. It pins
Duke.
today, but yeah. I caught on the Florida late. That's what it is. Yeah. Like I think I have Florida as like my third best SEC team. And now I
Mm-hmm.
think they might win it all. Like it's just crazy. Like I didn't know that
Can
because what you call
so
Clayton's backcourt bait was actually hurt when I was watching Florida. Like I remember seeing him on the bench
right.
cheerleading. He's really good. Like, so that might have changed.
So I would like to give my one scorching hot take, possibly on Cooper Flag.
Do it.
So a couple of years ago, kid entered the draft, never played a game of college basketball, not from this country. And he was one of the most hyped prospects to come into the draft ever. And you saw teams tanking and everybody wanting to get the opportunity to draft this young man. And 2 years into the league, he's played really well. He's played respectfully and worthy of the draft position that he garnered.
Okay.
I think as a prospect, I've seen as much, if not more, from Cooper Flagg at this age in their careers. He's dominating college basketball. He's played with the Olympic team. I I don't know why this. I think Cooper Flagg. I'd say that to say that I think Cooper Flagg is the real deal. I'm not going to make any comment on the other player. I won't make any comment on the other player. But I think
the line. It didn't step over it. That's okay. Okay.
But I think Cooper Flagg. I think Cooper Flagg is the real. I think Cooper Flagg is the real deal. I tend to still think college basketball is the second best basketball league in the world, and so I think for Cooper Flagg to be dominating at this level is a good um, forecast for what he'll be at the next level. He's a special kid. He's one of the special ones. I think I would look, we've seen, I think the Toronto Raptors got fined for tanking. I I think the NBA is looking into other teams into tanking. If my Knicks, and thankfully they're not in this position right now, but if there was a season to tank for the number one pick, I think this is it. I think that kid is going to turn around a franchise. I think he's that good. The question is, I don't know if he's mellow good. Meaning, as a freshman, can you lead your team to a national championship?
Well, in my opinion, if he doesn't, he's not Melo good. Because to me, he has more talent than Melo. I mean, around him. Like Duke is a more talented team than that Syracuse team, in my opinion. Yeah. Peter Warwick.
Harry McNamara and what's my other guy? Hakeem Warwick.
Hakeem Warwick. Hakeem Warwick. Good players. He basically had one NBA player on his team. I'm lying? McNamara didn't make it to the league.
I mean, look. Yes, you're not lying. But what Hakeem Warwick was a top. He was a lottery pick, wasn't Hakeem Warwick?
He was a good player. Yeah, I'm not saying Syracuse have talent. I'm just saying Duke might have. Besides, take away Cooper Flagg, they might have two lottery picks on their team.
Yeah.
And Proctor's pretty good. You know, I think Proctor's an NBA player. Isaiah,
okay.
I don't know if their bench is going to probably be like he's going to make it to the NBA. How good he'll be, whatever. So he got like 4 NBA plays besides Cooper Flagg. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So yeah,
that's fair. I think that's fair.
I think Melo's the best freshman like ever. You know what I mean? Like ever.
Probably.
You know what
Probably.
I mean? That's just I've seen it. Like, you know what I mean? Like I like Cooper Flagg. Apparently I'm not as high on him as you are. Because if he's on the Paolo, Kay Cunningham, Anthony Edwards level, good. Like that's that's good enough for me.
Well, I uh, look, I'm Paolo and Cade guys. I'm big. No, yes, on the record,
Okay.
on the record, I'm big Paolo. Of course.
You're not an Ant-Man guy, so is that where we're going?
Uh,
Yeah, I thought that was like the leader of the pack. You like,
look, look, look. I'll say this: there are probably conversations that could be had.
okay.
I think they're. I think they're. Look, I think skill. I think the skill sets are different. I think the skill sets are different, and I think I personally prefer a different skill. I think Ant Man is the best scorer of the three. I think that's clear. But the as far as being the more all around ball player, I think that might be Cade.
So you're clearly projecting, right? Because
Oh yeah, absolutely,
far as
absolutely, absolutely.
accomplishing playoff, stuff like that,
Yes,
you're clearly projecting.
yes,
We'll
yes.
wait and see. That's a little shocking because people really hold, have Anthony Edwards really up there. I think he's a good player.
He's
I
an excellent player.
think most people would have him over Paolo and Cade today. But like
Well,
you
hold on.
said,
Let me
project.
ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. 2 years ago, who would you have? Who would you have preferred, Ant Man or Devin Booker?
Oh, Devin Booker. 2 years.
And today, who would you prefer?
Yeah, I would go Ant-Man. I would go Ant. It's like this.
You this thing could change quick.
No, it could change. It could change. It could change. Point taken. Point taken. I don't know if you put Devin Booker in Minnesota, it might be the same thing. But yeah, it is what it is.
Devin Booker has more talent.
He has a better one player is better than everybody on Minnesota, but no, but the team, because
Hold on.
no, he had
Who on Minnesota? Is there
yeah,
somebody on Minnesota better than Bradley Bill?
might want to take Julius Randle
No,
because you think Washington Wizards
no, no, no.
about this Bradley Bill.
You would take so you would take Julius.
You see how happy I'm about it. If I had to pick someone, is there only two left? I would probably pick Randall. You know,
Absolutely.
but I'm talking about like last year though. He had Cat and Gobert. That's just
Mm-hmm.
so you give Devin Booker, Cat and Gobert. You know, I don't know if they're
I
under.
could, no, I think I do agree that if I think I don't think that look I say that I say this to say I don't think Devin Booker is the problem in Phoenix.
Well, yeah, I mean, I seen him go to the finals with him, so I know he can win. He's a winning player, so like I said, I'll take Julius Randle. That's another reason I'll take Julius Randle. At some point, it's not a coincidence. To get you, I want to
No,
get back to when you told the line. I think Wemby is clearly a better prospect than Cooper Flagg. I think,
because of the height,
yeah, yeah. I think,
not because of skill, not because of skill
I
or
think, I
their.
think, I
Go
think he
ahead.
has the same skill set. I think he could do everything Cooper Flagg could do, but he's 7'4".
But he's
Yeah, that's my whole thing with Wemby. I'm not saying he has his unbelievable skill set. I'm just saying he has a good skill set and he's 7'4". Like, I'll stay on record. It's looking tough with these injuries. He's net to make the playoffs. I think he's the greatest prospect I've ever seen, barring nobody. There's no but no. I've never seen a better prospect than Victor Wembanyama. He's seven
so,
four with a small forward skill set. That's crazy to me.
but I look, I still, and maybe this is just my stubbornness, and maybe it's also because I'm only 5'7". I don't see, especially in today's NBA, the value in him being 7'4" as opposed to Cooper Flagg, who's what, maybe 6'9", 6'10".
The shot blocking is crazy. I mean, if he stays healthy, he's going to be the all-time leader in block shots.
So his impact on defense, you think will be what sets him apart?
From Cooper. And the thing is, I think Cooper Flagg is going to be like an all defensive player. Like again, I'm bigging up Wemby. I'm not trying to belittle Cooper Flagg. I think Cooper Flagg is going to be like maybe like a first team all defender. Like I think he's that good, but he's not 7'4". That's just crazy, bro. Like, you know, I liken Wemby to almost like a Paul George, but 7'4". Like, you know what I mean? Like his skill set. Maybe Paul George does this or that a little bit better, or whatever. He's 7'4". I know like the height thing, but it's there. He's 7'4". Like, I guess in my
Okay.
mind, I'm almost thinking like if I was 7'4", I'd be the GOAT. Period.
Okay.
That's me to go. How could I not be? It's you're 7'4".
Look, I I I I think he's a really I don't want to call him great just yet. He's
Right.
a really good he's a really good player. I think he can do a lot on the court. I think I think Cooper Flagg is a better scorer down low than Wemby is. I think he's more willing to score down low than Wemby does. Um, I think defensively, he won't be what Wemby is defensively, but I think he will be close enough to make it almost, well, I can't say even negligible, but I think he'll be respectable enough on defense. I think it's easier to build around Cooper Flag than Wemby.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one of the two to build a team around, I would pick Cooper Flag over Wemby.
And that's where we disagree. Like I said, I think he's the best prospect I've seen in my life. I
No, I get it.
Whether it pans out that way, if injuries are no 7'4", anyone who ever spoke to me about prospects, you know how I love Penny Hardaway at Memphis. I thought he was like,
You saw Steph Curry at Davidson,
mhm,
and you have the benefit of hindsight.
right,
You if you went back in time,
bro.
remembering Steph Curry and Davidson, and
Mhm,
you saw what he was able to do. Even at Davidson, he could shoot the lights out.
mhm.
Knowing you would still say Wemby is the best prospect you ever saw.
You know, I patterned my game after my favorite player, Michael Jordan. Give me Wemby. Because what can Jordan do that Wemby can't do? Not really. What can he do?
No, we saw him do it. That's the thing. We saw Jordan do it in college. We saw him do it. These are things that we're hoping to see Wemby actually do.
That's why
We
I said
saw these guys
prospect.
do it.
I said prospect. I said prospect. Give me, okay, what is he now? 20 years old? What, Wemby's 20?
Wemby, yeah, got to be 2021.
20-year-old Shaq, 20-year-old Magic, 20-year-old Jordan, 20-year-old Curry. Give me Wemby. And I get it. I could be completely wrong, but I've never, yeah, to me, I, if he's not, I got him as like, if he's not, yeah, if he's not the GOAT, I almost feel like his career would be a disappointment.
Well, again, but I say the only look, unless Wemby is going to be Kevin Durant on offense,
Mhm. I'd rather
I
him post
can't.
up, but I think that's where we're going. But go ahead.
You would rather him do what?
I'd rather him post up more, but I think we're going to the Kevin Durant. That's where his game is.
Or I mean, look, even Dirk Nowitzki, oh, whatever big man that had an elite offensive game. Unless Wemby is going to be that in this league, I think at best he'll be All NBA, which is obviously nothing to frown about. He'll be all star. I don't think he'll be All NBA every. You know, just because I think the league at this point, like even though he's 7'4", he can be defended. There's 6'8", 6'9" guys that can defend him
Yeah,
extremely, extremely, extremely well. To the point where I don't know how much of an advantage his height is. And
and
his height actually might be a detriment because those guys can now handle and get around him on defense if he has to come out on the perimeter as well.
yeah, I think his lack of posting up, yeah, it kind of takes away his advantage, his God-given advantage of being 7'4". I agree
Right.
with that. But yeah, defensively, it's crazy. It's just because I think you can blow by him and still get your shot. You know what I mean? Like I just think the height,
That's true.
he might
And we've
not
seen
be
that.
that good of a like if he was put it this way, if he was Cooper Flagg's height, he might not be as good as Cooper Flag on defense. You know what I mean? It's the height.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm
Right.
not saying like
Right.
he moves
Right.
his
Because
feet.
he's got that makeup, what they call in football, the cornerbacks, they got that makeup speed.
Yeah,
That makeup, yeah, he can
Dion,
make
like
that
oh,
up.
you got to step on Dion, but do you really? It's definitely one of those things. Damn, yo, we're running short on time.
All
Uh,
right.
we're gonna get back to this, especially when this draft comes out. This of Cooper, yeah, we're gonna get back to this in the NFL draft. We even get to cover.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We actually, it's March. Got March Madness. We got baseball. I know your Giants. Just look at the draft picks. What's on your radar?
Just more NCAA. Just I got Florida winning it all, so just kind of following that. Obviously my Knicks, going through a little bit of a tough stretch right here, without Jalen Brunson, just trying to, get through this last stretch of the season. So, I'll be watching them. I think there's a fight this weekend coming up as well. Forget who fights this weekend. Oh, Canelo. Canelo fights this weekend.
I check that out.
So
Yeah.
I'll be yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'll be checking that out.
Okay. Okay. For me, shout out my man Mo. He's like the one show he misses. This is what I'm talking about. I think USC and Connecticut play tonight, so I think they're on a collision course to meet in the Elite Eight again. Uh,
Oh, okay.
oh, that's what I'm looking forward to. People would say, "Oh, how can we get more interest in the women's game?" Paige Beckers against Juju, I'm there. Those are like my two favorite female college basketball plays. Easy. You know what I mean? So
That's
that's
must see. That's gonna be must see TV.
so I hope that happens. I need Connecticut USC. Everybody's going to
Absolutely.
that Paige did win last year. That's a whole other story. But yeah, one of my favorite plays in women's game. So I'm looking forward to that. Um,
Absolutely.
that's it. Everybody, thanks for watching. Kyle, you came through clutch as usual. Wow, Central Lab style. You know what I'm saying? So
Ballin'.
Nolan. So everybody, thanks for watching. Appreciate you. Peace.
Peace.